What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. LexxExpress and Trout checking in with some more WWE 2K22 news. So in this video, we're actually going to be reacting, pausing, and talking about the interview between Vybe and the creators of WWE 2K22. Now, as far as we know, not everyone that created the game is a part of this video. They're only interviewing Lionel Jenkins and someone else. That is part of Visual Concept. So we're going to see the questions and the way they respond and kind of react to it. Trout, so we got to pause that 132 here. We're
Yes,
building up
sir.
the video here. They already played the game and they interviewed the developers. We don't own this footage. We're just checking it out, reacting to it, and that's it. All right, so my camera is going to be... I'm going to make it a little bigger there, and then we're going to move it around depending on who he interviews. So play, hit play, hit play, hit play.
All right.
All right.
For the first time in a wrestling game, in my opinion at least, the championships look the best that they ever have before. Can you go into a little detail about what went into making the game visually be the best in franchise history?
Oh my gosh. So first off, thank you for having us. But also, we have a super dope art team and a super dope development team that's just out there, passionate, nerdy individuals putting in the work to make sure they're delivering these top-notch visuals. So big shout out to them because they put in so much hard work into this.
They're doing good with that.
So
Yeah, presentation does look better.
yes, absolutely. One, the championship belt or the championships are the best looking that you have ever seen. Also, we on the character side, and Lionel can absolutely speak more to this, we've rescanned almost every single superstar to make them look as close to their likenesses as possible. So every single part of the game there was touched.
All right, let's pause it on
There
1, 2, 3.
There's a ton of...
So they scanned every single star. That is
That's
freaking
wild.
awesome. I wanted to pause it real quick to kind of go off of that. For so long, Trout, we've had all these wrestlers kind of look the same and get some tweaks and things, and like they would put things here and there, like just to kind of update their attire or like facial hair or whatnot. But the fact that they're saying that they got almost everybody, I'm sure they're talking about, you know, people that have passed or, you know, some people that weren't available to go into the studio or whatever. Like some of the older guys, I mean, are probably the ones that didn't get
Probably
scanned.
just touched it up a little bit. Though,
And they touched
you know.
up their models that they have, yeah. And then the titles, the fact that they rescanned those and put those brand spanking new is also amazing because remember, the titles always looked pretty decent. I would say that they looked good to me. I'm not going to say that they looked bad because I'd be lying. But the fact that they went ahead and rescanned them to make them look even better, I appreciate that right there because ultimately the titles did look kind of like too big. Like on the bigger wrestlers, for whatever reason, they kind of made it enlarged. And sometimes it would lose like quality. I don't know how to really explain it right now, but I know what I'm talking about, guys. Don't think I'm crazy. So I'm ready when you are. You ready?
Yep.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Improved hair as well as
Improved hair.
you
I
can
noticed
all
that
attest
too.
to.
Except for
getting some
Undertaker.
nods here. Also on the presentation
The
cinematography
phenom.
side, there are new entrance cameras. So when you're going through the game, it feels like you are at a WWE event. Like this truly, first off,
That's what
our
I felt
camera
like.
guys are awesome at what they do, but this truly also pays nod to the WWE broadcasting team too, because they're finally getting their shout out with all that hard work that they're putting in over there. But there's new entrance cameras, improved facial animation, superstar performances too, the new gameplay cameras and everything with the wider angle lenses. We've overhauled the lighting engine. There's an
I knew it, bro. I mentioned it in my last video. The lighting has changed completely.
There
Yep.
different new playable arenas and virtual crowd boards. So on that side, there a lot of work went into that. But leading up to it, so much of that went into how identifying those visual targets and how things were also planned. Because once you're in production, you are going. So much of that goes into the pre-production side, and it speaks to what the teams what the teams wanted to include in this cycle of WWE 2K, but also them putting in the work once we hit production to hit those marks. Well, I know I definitely want you to add to this because you have different perspective as well.
Oh God, here's a trailer. Sorry about that, guys. Freaking ads. All right, on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
So Dalton, first I'm gonna start with answering your question, and I'll dive deep into the details like Christina did. But I think one of the first things I set out to do was like I just went through like a ton of footage and tried to find like a new look for like entrances and cutscenes, and I was just like, I read it for some reason I was just I was called to like this new the cameras where you're right up on someone and you're following someone and you see that how big that event actually is, because you guys have all been to WWE events and even had time to like get on a stage or look from that perspective, and you don't really understand like how intimidating that is, right? And so like for me, I wanted our team to try to replicate that look, and so we did a bunch of tests early on.
That was awesome.
And
Yep.
in the room you guys were actually playing in when you guys came out to test the game, like we were doing a ton of reviews there before COVID hit, and we nailed that look, and we finally hit it with our animators, and we're like, all right, we want every single entrance in our cutscenes to have that feeling, like where you get that perspective and you feel like you have a front row seat and certain camera angles right there at ringside. So a ton of work went into that.
That was awesome. So bolstered presentation. I'm all for it, man. I'm a big cutscene guy.
Yep.
Into like everything we put into our superstars and our lighting, right? Like rescanning everyone that we could possibly get, and
for sure
touching every single superstar, from the legends who are no longer with us to like people we just don't have access to, or they aged quite a bit. Like we went and retouched everyone.
What did I tell you? I said that, bro, when remember when I paused it now?
Our cloth sim, our hair sim, lighting, everything had to get redone, right, in order for us to feel confident about
it looks
showing
really good.
these
It does. You could tell
that close on screen to where you can point out the poor details, the sweat, all of it, right? It's right there in your face, and we're not scared to show it all.
That was like honestly the first thing that I noticed when I jumped into a game.
100%.
Entrances, and like I think the guys can attest to this too. We are quite honestly entrance skippers. We never really look at entrances when we're doing content, but I could not skip any entrance that I watched.
I love entrances, but
I saw
I get what they're saying.
Yeah. Who was obviously in 2K20, so I mean it's not like a surprise or anything like that, but her entrance was crazy in the sense of like the camera movement and panning and all. I was like visually stunned by how good this game looks, because I'll be honest, it kind of is a catchphrase of marketing every year of like, hey, graphics are better this year. I was surprised.
Yeah, no, he's right. That is a marketing thing that kind of annoys me, because even for the presentation, they always talk about, oh, it's more live-like than ever. It's closer to the broadcast. But there's just something about it for sure. Like Lionel said, I called him Lionel Jenkins earlier, by the way. It's Lionel Jinx, but it's like what he said earlier, that they're trying to capture like the essence of like the stadium and that whole atmosphere. What did I say when we were looking at the screenshots without looking at this interview? The atmosphere is noticeable, bro.
You brought up the championship so much, and in us taking all your
all
your
the
kind
different
words
lighting
and
and stuff.
appreciation back to our team. They were so jazzed to hear what you had to say. Like especially the folks that worked on the championships. Like they are over the moon about hearing this, because it's basically the first time folks are starting to see it, starting with y'all. So we're so hyped, guys. We are so hyped.
We're so hyped after playing it too.
We're so hyped too.
I think it's the best a wrestling game has looked, period.
Same.
And that's no gas.
Would you say, Aaron, would you say it hits different? I'm just asking.
Would you say it hits
I
different?
mean, I've heard it a lot, so
Hey.
and I've got to feel the game. It does hit different.
So Jinx, you saw it. I was playing MyRise, and I was enjoying what I was playing. I didn't get too much time with it. I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But one thing I was curious about, how many hours is MyRise this year?
Oh, here we go.
20 was about roughly 25 hours. So yeah, how long is MyRise this year?
So again, roughly, I'm gonna talk roughly, right? Like, like it's hard to like give you like a hard estimate because we know some people are just gonna run through everything and not read everything. Like maybe Dalton who doesn't want to read stuff, but like like, I'm just saying.
Don't play a tutorial one time.
So, like, but when we ask QA or our team to go through it, like we found like this average run time for and keep this in mind. There's 2 separate stories for male and female this year.
Oh, so it's male and female. I thought it was gonna be just 2. Period. From what I
would say
read.
like 24, 25 hour mark. So total around 50 hours.
Ooh.
50 hours.
I like that answer. I like that.
Yeah. So each story is about 25.
Basically just said too, that there's 2 individual storylines, correct? The male and female.
Oh yeah. No.
Okay. I like that. I like that
No
a
more
lot.
Red and Trey. No more. Thank God.
We're giving women their due in WWE
Awesome.
2K22. They deserve their own run, and it is all prevalent through WWE 2K22's MyRise.
Absolutely.
great to hear.
I look forward to playing the women's story.
Hell
As you
yeah.
guys can attest, I am such a huge fan of women's wrestling. I mean, y'all saw it when I was there. I was looking at a lot of the women's entrances and playing with a lot of the women in the game. I'm very jazzed.
Be careful, Dalton. Don't sound like a perv now saying I'm all for the women's wrestling stuff.
Drop the next question.
Yeah. So I wanna ask you guys about this, right? What was your biggest obstacle in making WWE 2K20?
Oof. I want to hear this one.
Making WWE 2K20. No. Honestly, like the thing that every year, when working on this game, there's so many things that we want to try, and we just it was so risky that you knew that the game could basically stop functioning if you touched it, and that's gameplay, right? Like there's so many things that we've tried, and games have evolved so much from those, I would say the heyday of like what people consider like the old wrestling games of like my favorite wrestling games.
Yeah, he's basically talking about like No Mercy and SmackDown.
That when we want to try to like breathe some of these new ideas and new designs into gameplay, we were always shied away from it, right? Because it's so risky, right? Because I always say like most people think of like a wrestling game is like, oh, it's just a fighting game. You're like, no, it's not. Like it's a fighting game, but then you tack on.
Hey, that sounds like the debate we were having on stream the other day.
Or climb a ladder, or bring in tables, or go outside the ring and go backstage, and like there's all these things, and then times 7 more people in the ring with you, right? So it's just like it's that complex.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
Do one thing,
Yep.
you have to times it about
A lot
by
going
all the
at
match
once.
types, by every different scenario, and all these different things that could interact with you, right? And so it's always challenging when we talk about any design changes. And so we had the confidence to do it on WWE 2K22, where we're like, this is it. We're tired of people saying like this is just a stale update, or they just changed the controls, or they just did this. And like you guys can attest to it, like we had to pull out all stops and change the way we approach this completely.
Good job, Lionel. That's what I want to hear, bro. Like,
Yep.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's all I want to hear. Y'all
Brand new
actually gave a
fighting
shit.
engine.
The first time user experience. And
Yeah, guys, he just said it's a brand new fighting engine. Thank God.
It is different.
Yeah.
And like to me, like that, like when you're seeing that and you figure out like, oh, like the combos and combo breakers and how you get to grapples and how, like understanding the new meter and just understanding the new approach that we're asking users to go on that this new journey with us, and you guys were able to pick it up and figure it out, like was just awesome. And then to actually see
That's
it, taking everything you guys learned in your individual experiences in that triple threat that you guys play, like and just seeing it all out there, like that was honestly like it was a moment that Christina and I were talking about, like we've been looking forward to all development cycle, because we're just like, yeah, it's just us playing it, but to see like you guys play it, like that was awesome. Like we're like, oh man, it's happening. You guys are having so much fun, and you're like, that confidence was backed up by your guys' reaction, right? So we're just like, oh man, it was worth it. It was worth all these, the like with the development cycle, like all these, I would say uncertainties that you might have through production. You're like, oh, I don't know if people are gonna like this, and then we're just seeing your guys' reaction to it. That to me was like, that was it. We were like, yep, we did it. It was great.
And I will
Triple threat
definitely
was a lot of fun too.
It was absolutely. I will definitely recommend to everybody too. And I know Jinx about to get a kick out of this. Please play the tutorial.
We were being way too stubborn. We're like, no, we vets. We don't need it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
I played it.
struggling.
No,
I needed that
Aaron was the
tutorial.
only
I
one
played
that
it.
went in. Aaron was like, we're like, yeah, we're gonna start y'all off with a tutorial. Aaron was the only one that did it.
But but Brandon went to it after he lost in the triple threat. So he was like, maybe
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna need that.
Well, I'm huge on gameplay, so like, with seeing that there was a tutorial for like how new the gameplay is, I figured why not do it and get a feel for it. And I think if people pick up
Taking
the
notes.
game and they just be a little patient with it, because there's a slight learning curve to the game. I believe that's how I felt.
Definitely,
They're
there's going to be a
like it.
learning curve to
I
this.
really believe that. So,
Yep.
And yeah, the gameplay is amazing. I love what you guys did with the targeting indicator for multi-person matches. That looks so clean. So clean. It's so much better than having like a name above,
confusing name
the
thing?
wrestlers. Yeah.
that didn't confuse anybody.
all of us said too after the fact when we got back to the hotel, when we went to In-N-Out, we said it multiple times after playing. It felt great to have actually fun on a wrestling game again. Like, we finally had fun playing a wrestling game again, which I haven't felt that since back on the SVR days in terms of just genuine fun. Like, I love making content, don't get it twisted, but having fun playing the game casually hasn't been a thing for me in a long time, and getting that joy was so fun.
And now we have other things like cross-platform, so it's just like, going between, Xbox and PS4, we want to make sure that we are creating, a stable community as well.
Real quick, because you just said it, I'm definitely going to back it up real quick. Can you just run that back one time? Make sure the earwax is out of my ears so I heard it clearly. Cross-platform,
dropping bombs over here.
Cross-platform community creations, y'all. What's up? Yeah.
Oh,
Girl, don't do it. It's
Like your creations, if you make them on PS4 or on Xbox,
That's awesome,
or PS5
bro.
and Xbox,
Yep.
Series X.
that was a big problem before, the community creations being separate. This is
It's a
amazing.
feature that the community's been asking for so long, and I'm proud to announce it. Yeah, like that's happened. I'm surprised we didn't tell you guys
dope.
that when we met with you. When you were
Hey,
there.
I'm not. Hey, listen. I went and I was nosy and I peeked around in community creation, so I saw it. But I can't just say it. I gotta let the big guy say it.
Okay, my bad.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Brandon, do you have anything?
Oh yes. So a lot of fans are on the fence about whether or not they should purchase WWE 2K22 this year. What has the team learned after WWE 2K20?
Here we go.
And why
Let
should
me
fans
hear it.
purchase this year's game?
I think a lot of that definitely comes down to all the things we've talked about pretty much right now. Like, the entire experience is different. Like, starting on the visual side, again, with the different, like, we went through and rescanned all the superstars, overhauled lighting, can go on and on. Those dope championships y'all keep raving about. Like, I'm gonna say it hits different.
It does.
I can repeat everything I said earlier, or I can say that it truly hits different. And beyond the
That's
visual
amazing.
side, like the gameplay engine's been redesigned from the ground up, and y'all can attest to that. I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to let Lionel say it this time.
I mean, it's our tagline for a reason. That was our philosophy, and it does, like, our thing. It has to hit different in order for you guys to have faith in us once again, right? And to me,
No doubt, because if not, it would have died.
Yep.
Like, a WWE game at this level, and it needs, right? So, like, we have something for everyone, right? With the overall and the overhaul in gameplay, to MyRise with separate female male storylines, to MyGM, right?
Oh,
for
My
the people
GM.
who like the franchise.
I want them to ask him stuff about faction and my GM. They haven't done it, and the video's about to
I don't know.
And my faction, right? And showcases back as well, which there's some cool surprises there. So like I feel like there's something for everyone, and to me that in itself, right, when you look at like everything that we've crammed into this year's title, like there's just so much content and there's so much for you guys to experience, and to me like that's what we set out to make, and I look at it and to watch you guys play it and have that, like what you guys said, fun playing it, not just like, yeah, I guess I can make some content with this one. Yeah, like no, like I can't remember. One of the things that stuck with me afterwards, where you guys were saying like, "Man, we're gonna have a great year making content, fellas," and I was just like, "Yes!" Like, like
hey, I wanted to keep playing the game.
No,
Yeah,
like,
and I think
that's what we're looking for, right? Like that's to me as a developer or anyone who has a job and wants some kind of recognition, right? Where you're like you put something in someone's hands and they want to you want to feel like that joy that you're expecting to be reciprocated, and we got that with you guys playing it. We just want to share that with the rest of the our fan base.
Yeah, and to echo your sentiment too, Lionel, a lot of it is like you and I've had conversations about this where it's the theme of this cycle specifically. One is it fun? Like, is it the player experience going to be fun? But also, is it accessible for new players as well? And
they always go that route too.
Like, and what is the competition like for vets? So when y'all play it, it's super hyper competitive. But if someone just picks it up to play for the first time, we want them to have that experience too. So it, in my opinion, it definitely touches on all of those areas for the player experience and just looking at.
She's kind of stuck. I'm here waiting for her to say.
Cycle, like, hell yeah, it definitely hits different. So
yeah, I would say that's one of like it's obviously
Man,
working remotely and
I don't want to like skip over because I don't want to miss it, but I want to hear something about my GM and my faction, and they're not asking it. This feels more like a promotional thing than it does like real like burning questions,
My kids or Christina, like your friend, be like, hey, test this out, and getting that like that non-expert feedback early on, right? We're like, oh shoot, like someone said this is too hard or this is too easy or whatever, and so like we're iterating at a much faster pace because of it. It was one of the things that we just didn't expect to happen that kind of helped us out.
Got you. Well, yeah, I mean, that all sounds great, man. That all sounds great, but I guess we got to wrap it up.
No.
So, if you guys have anything you want to say, like the final words?
Nah, honestly, like I want to thank you guys because, like, making games is it's definitely it's challenging at times, right? And it tests your nerves, right? And seeing your reaction to everything we worked on and what the team has worked on and all our hard work, it didn't go in vain. And so like, thank you for providing that for us. Like we shared, that feedback with the team and like that, it put a smile on our faces, right? Like it just, at a time where we all need it, right? Where we're just trying to like make sure that we put a bow on this and make it as good as we can.
All right.
It's going to help us cross that finish line a little faster and stronger.
Yeah, we've been in the weeds for so long. So seeing y'all and seeing that raw reaction was just so, it was so satisfying to see so much joy on your faces as you were playing.
All right, so I'm skipping ahead.
But guys, we appreciate it so much.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna take it out. All right, so yeah, guys, there you have it. The Vibe interview is done. And you know what? This was an unexpected video. I honestly did not even know that this was out there, and then we saw it on Twitter. Make sure y'all catch my other videos up on the channel where you guys can see me like super pissed off about the prices. It says I got no views, but that's not true, guys. All right, no worries. I do have a couple views on those videos. Just at the time of this recording, I had just uploaded it or whatever. So yeah. Crazy. So check out those videos. You guys can hear me complain about the price, and we'll be back with a breakdown, a much shorter breakdown about what we just heard in a separate video. But everything sounded all good, all fine and dandy. We still gotta play it. I don't want to be sympathetic and be like, oh yeah, man, I feel so sorry for them. This game is gonna be great now, because we've bought into the hype before, so I'm just gonna continue to be excited for it, continue to be positive, and keep my fingers crossed because this game better hit different, baby. Let's go. What do you think, Trout? You like everything you heard?
Hell yeah.
Let's get
Course I
it.
did.
We gonna be playing March 8th or no?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's go.